The Democratic Party's grip on Black America is going up in smoke. Imagine a world where Black Americans are no longer tied to the Democratic Party. Dr. Cornel West reveals why the seismic shift away from the Democrats may be exactly what America needs. But first, my name is Tim Black. If you want to follow Dr. Cornel West's run for the presidency, you're in the right place. Subscribe to this channel now and cut on all notifications. Many Black Americans have had it up to here with the Democratic Party.
But only talk to Black people about voting. And that's what you're doing up in here today, pandering for votes to all of these students up in here. You're sitting on your hands, literally, and then you're going to be disrespectful and walk off the stage. But you won our vote. Sir, we've been voting for 60 years, and we haven't gotten a damn thing from you, or Joe Biden, or Kamala Harris. We haven't gotten anything. Sir, what? No, because I'm mad as hell, sir. 60 years we've been voting. What have we got other than being at the bottom class? And this clown here gonna sit up here and give us this Baptist preacher antic show, and we buy and see, but I hope you're not buying into that bullshit. I really hope you're not buying into it.
Preach! We're sick and tired of being sick and tired. When Kamala Harris sat down with Al Sharpton, she had to acknowledge it. I mean, she pretended to acknowledge it in her own way.
You concerned about turnout, especially among Blacks in the election? You hear these polls. Are you concerned about that?
I am always concerned about turnout, whatever election we are talking about. Because let us, in a moment where we thank everybody for what they did to turn out in 2020, appreciate that it takes an effort to turn out to vote. People have things to do. They have obligations. If somebody's working 2 or 3 jobs, if they've got, a bunch of children and they need to worry about who's going to take care of the kids while they go vote, or people have obligations every day. But the people who, especially the people who have most at stake in the election, are often the people who least have the luxury of taking time out of their day to do something that is not an immediate obligation.
Yeah, I hear you. But it's more than that, Madam Vice President. It's more than just people having other things to do and they got to take off from work, so that's a pain in the butt. Yes, it makes sense that we'd have a voting holiday where everybody can get off work and be able to vote and everybody be fine. But you're not giving people a reason to get off work. You're not giving people a reason to go up to the school. You're not giving them a reason to go up to the library. You're not giving them a real reason that they would want to vote. I mean, they would vote if they felt like there was something in it for them. 40% of Americans don't feel it. Not just Black Americans, but we're talking about Black folks. Black Americans do not feel that they see a change in their government that would institute or constitute them having a reason to go down and vote for Joe Biden, you, or anybody else. So the problem is not so much that people don't have time to vote. It's that the people are disconnected from the party, you see. The Democratic Party is disconnected in the same way that the Republican Party is disconnected. In fact, both the Republican and the Democratic parties are disconnected from the voters that need them the most. The voters who, through their policies, can impact their lives the most are the most disconnected because the policies are not connected to the people and the needs of those people.
What's made you feel like voting isn't worth it?
For you to sit there and you see your elders say something to the town hall or something like that and nothing's being done about it, after a while it just becomes a non-factor in your life. You just feel like, I'm gonna just do what I gotta do, survive on a day-to-day, make a way for my family and everything like that. Politics don't really matter.
This brother explains why young Black people are disconnected. So how many times are young people supposed to sit back and watch their parents vote and hear all this, you gotta vote, and then no change, no fundamental, real type change happens? A lot of these middle-class Black folks who are tied to the Democratic Party, they love using the idea that Black Americans died so that they would have the right to vote, so that we would have the right to vote. But I got a problem with that. Yeah, I got a deep problem with that because I don't think Medgar Evers would have chose to give his life so that his grandkids could come out and vote for Donald Trump or for Joe Biden. I think he would have been fine to go stay in the house that day, to avoid the carport and that white supremacist Beckwith who shot him in the back like a coward. The civil rights leaders who gave their lives didn't give their lives to decide between a half a bowl and a whole bowl. Hello, somebody? That's not why they did it. They did it because they thought it would actually fundamentally change. This is before neoliberalism came in and everything was given to the corporations and to the 1%. This was back when people had an actual belief that maybe policies would impact our lives more directly instead of transferring wealth up to the top. This is not a new thing. Dr. West talked about it years ago.
We saw the results of a system in place that has been driven by corporate greed at the top, with oligarchs ruling and politicians rotating, with money coming from the big banks, big corporations, pushing working people to the margins and rendering poor people superfluous, which is to say either unnecessary or, in the great metaphor of Ralph Ellison, invisible. So anytime you talk about poor people, you got to talk about the larger systemic context. How could it be that the top 400 individuals have wealth equivalent to the bottom 150 million fellow citizen? There's something sick about that. They say, oh, they deserve it, they're so smart. No, I know some smart folk broke as the Ten Commandments financially. They just can't get a job. They just can't get a job. If 1% of the population owns 41% of the wealth, and yet, what is it now, 56% of our precious children of all colors live in or near poverty, the kind of thing Marian Wright Eldridge has been talking about? Something is deeply wrong, it's morally obscene. Then how could it be that poverty hasn't become the major moral and spiritual issue of our time? Because our leaders lack courage and independence.
See, you hear a lot of Democrats talking about Cornel West being a spoiler. And I've heard people push back on it in various ways. They say, how you going to spoil something that's already rotten? What's he spoiling? See, I'm looking at it a different way. I'm saying Dr. West, he's spoiling it in the way that the Scooby-Doo investigators would spoil it back on the Scooby-Doo show. You know when the kids would uncover the mystery, they'd solve the mystery, and it turned out it wasn't a ghost. Turned out it wasn't a ghost that was stealing all the money or stealing all the whatever. It turns out it was some bad actor. And the kids would catch him. And when they're in the cuffs and the police finally got the culprits, the culprit would say, I would have got away with it too if it wasn't for these meddling kids. See, Dr. West is the meddling. He's exposing them. He's unpacking it. He's revealing the truth. And see, that spoils the lie. Now, a lot of Americans are falling for the lie. Problem is, a lot of them are not voting because there's nothing to vote for. But they're not being fooled at all. They see it. They go, I'm not getting involved. So these leaders are not really leaders of the people. These are people that got good jobs. And when they come out and campaign, really what they're trying to do is secure their jobs. That's all they're trying to do. They're not really going there to fight for us. They're going there to get a paycheck. And that's not what Dr. Martin Luther King was talking about when he said, we coming to get our check. He meant the check for the people. He didn't mean you go get a job and pick up a paycheck. See, this is why I got disagreements with a lot of people in independent media. They say Tim Black he's a trouble. He's a problem. That's because I'm telling the truth, man, and you guys are not, because you just want your paycheck too. Dr. West is exposing the truth about these leaders, really these misleaders, the misleading class. As the late, great Glenn Ford would put it, the misleadership class, right? How did Dr. West put it?
Honestly confront the catastrophe in order to work through it. If you're in denial, if you're trying to avoid it, there's a good chance that you're just concerned about yourself and you forgot about Jamal and Letitia, who's still locked in the hood with communities of decrepit schools and indecent housing and don't have access to health care and dealing with guns and all kind of mess and drugs, and you walking around parading like you so successful. Oh, how truncated, how narrow. You think it was just a problem and you overcame it. No, the catastrophe affects all of us. All of us.
So what's happening now is a lot of black Americans are waking up because they are now falling, right? And they're down here with the working class, the hurting class black Americans. And now there's a problem. Because they're not just over there looking and say, oh, those poor blacks who don't got their lives right. Now they're one of those poor blacks. And they're like, uh-oh, we got to do something. So now people are running out of the Democratic Party. And we knew it was going to happen eventually. Oh, it's happening now. So Dr. Cornel West running gives them an opportunity with the Green Party to do something new, something different. It's a new day. That's what I've been talking about. But look, check it out. Check this out. It's not to usher them into the Republican Party, right? It's to wake them up. And now we can do something different, totally different with the Green Party or independent party, such as the Green Party, right? And hold them accountable, but it's not to become, we're not saying become a liberal. Dr. West is not a liberal.
Hail in liberal land, you are a liberal.
Well, I'm not a liberal now. I'm a leftist.
You're a leftist.
I'm a leftist.
What's the difference?
I'm critical, yeah.
What's the difference between a liberal and a leftist?
The difference is liberalism refuses to engage in a critique of capitalism, refuses to engage in a critique of empire and imperial policies, and it refuses to engage in the milquetoast character of the Democratic Party. Liberals are in the Democratic Party. I have a critique of the milquetoast character of the Democratic Party. Okay. When you talk about the plantation of the Democratic Party, I'm with you wholeheartedly. I've talked about the Obama plantation. We can talk about the Clinton plantation and so forth. Now, I come right back and say, there's a Trump plantation too. All of these politicians, all of these parties have their plantations.
Well, I'm not.
See, we got tired of our black politicians doing well. Meanwhile, we're not doing well. Yeah, the Democratic Party's doing well, but we're not doing well. Yeah, we noticed that Hakeem Jeffries is doing well, but we're not doing well. Raphael Warnock is doing well, but we're not doing well. Kamala Harris is doing well, but we're not doing well. So now we got the folks who were once sitting comfortable in the middle who have slipped down due to the housing crisis or what have you. And then we got the folks that are disaffected and now listening now because they're like, okay, maybe there's a change. There's a change now. And we got this political movement with people online. Right, we got people online on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, waking people up. So now we're at a different crossroads. I think we're at a crossroads where we can really make a real serious impact, and that's what Dr. Cornel West campaign is all about. So black Americans are waking up. Black Americans are waking up and they're leaving. They are abandoning the Democratic Party, and for a good reason. The Democratic Party focus is corporations. And focus are the upper echelons of the working class, not even the working class. They're not working for working people. They're not working for poor people. They're not working for disenfranchised folks. And Lord and behold, it ain't working for us. It never was working for us. But now that's just amplified. And we're looking around and we're all the people that are grieved, all those who feel aggrieved and feel like they've been lied to and backstabbed and who are frustrated. And that's what the Democratic Party has on their hands now. And how they're going to respond to it, they're trying to tell us that Dr. Cornel West is the problem because Trump is over there. Trump, you see Trump? Here go Trump. And they're going to use that all the time. Here goes DeSantis. You got to stay here. DeSantis is over there. Then it'll be, you got to stay here. Vivek is over there. Then it'll be, you got to stay over here. Eminem is over there. You got to stay over here. That guy who sang that country western song is over there. And that's not working. Not anymore. Not anymore. Them days is over. All right, guys, my name is Tim Black. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the content, if it made sense to you. Remember, like I always say, don't you let nobody take your cornbread, especially not neither one of these, Republican or the Democratic Party. Why? Because we got an option. That option is Dr. Cornel West. And why should you vote for him? It's a new day. I see you on the next one.
The Black Table. Tim Black's The Real Black Table streams Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and Facebook. Be there, family.